Hi. In this lesson, we're going to work with how to write a job application. Målene for opplæringa er at du etter å ha sett denne videoen oppfatter forskjeller på formell kommunikasjon i Norge, Storbritannia og USA, og utvikler med dette forståelse for at din oppfatning av verden er kulturavhengig. Og du vet at det finnes ulike typer av formelt brev, der jobbsøknad, job application, er en av typene. Og du kan opprette struktur på brev gjennom formatering i Word. So the structure of this lesson is that we will begin with looking at the difference between formal and informal letters. What's their purpose and what's their style? Then we will have a closer look at different types of formal letters, and I will talk a bit about their purpose. We will have a look at the traits of job applications, and I will show you how to format letters in Word. So this is part of your preparation for the lesson where we will actually work with writing formal letters or job applications. So we have mainly two types of letters. The first one is the formal letter, which is usually written for business or professional purposes. This is in contrast to the informal letters, which are usually written messages between friends, relatives, and acquaintances. Here. And the purpose of the formal letter is very often serious. It could be to complain about something, if you want to request or give information, depending on whether or not you are the customer or the business partner, for instance. If you want to give response to something, if you want to confirm details, or to apply for a position or so on. And this is what we're going to work with. So the style of the formal letters are very often impersonal. They hold a professional or academic tone, but it's not too technical, and it should be easy to read still. The language is supposed to be formal, as we have worked with previously, differences between formal and informal language. Also, the formal letters follow a certain structure. So the purpose of the informal letters is often personal, uh, where you can write a letter to your grandpa, for instance, to tell about something important that has happened to you, something that you have experienced, or it could be telling your loved ones something about your personal feelings or thoughts. So these are meant to be read by a specific person, while the formal letters can be read by anyone holding a position and who are supposed to be able to read your letter. So the style for the informal letters is very often personal, informal language, and there is no specific structure. So we have a couple of different formal letters. We have like inquiries or requests where you ask for something. You have applications, for instance, for jobs or apprenticeships or scholarships, or for that matter. If you want to complain about something, for instance, a service or a something you have purchased, you can complain in a formal letter. You can also write to apologize for something that has happened. And there are a number of different purposes to business letters and yeah, academic letters and so on. So we will have a look at the job application today, and the job application is a type of employment form. It is a way to actually get a job or to get a position. And what this job application do is it shows that the applicant, which is you, if you are the one applying for a job, if you are eligible for work. And it also functions as testing your literacy, your penmanship, and your communication skills. Because if you don't do well in these in writing the letter, you might come off as a bit low on communication skills, for instance. So you also want to provide some information because you might have references, and your employer might want to use it to do a background check on you. So the letter must also contain information to use here. Basically, the letter tells something about your availability for work. So what we'll also have a look at is how to have the letter look more like this and less like this. So that's a matter of formatting. I will show you that in Word how you can do this. This is the exact same text, it's just different formatting. So we will take a look at how the structure of the letter should be and um, how you can easily um, work with the format. Hi, so I'm going to show you how to format a letter in Word. So this is the example text. You see here that we have the sender's address and all this information going on here. And here is the recipient, it's Sunset Retirement Home, and we have the address and the date here. We have a salutation or an opening, and we have the body of the letter, and we have the closing and the signature in the bottom. So let's start at the top. To have this look a bit better, we can just mark all of the information regarding the sender, and we can just click here, adjust to right. What we also could do is to click here to remove the spacing. Oops, that was actually here, remove spacing. So it looks a bit neater, a bit tighter. We'll do the same uh, for the recipient. We will remove the spacing. Then we have here, this is the date. I prefer that this is here on the right side, so we can just mark it and click it and move it. So this is a salutation. Dear Madam and or Sir, it's okay that it is in bold, and you should always put a comma before at the end of the sentence here. So we have here, it looks nice. We know who is the sender, and this is the recipient, and here we have the date, but you're allowed to put the date also here if you prefer that. Okay, so here goes the body. This is John Anderson, and he states his purpose of sending the letter, and that is to apply for the position. And he introduces himself and tells a bit about his background and what he's currently doing, his former experiences, and here he goes on to interests. So what I would do here is, because here he changes topic and tells the reader why the assistant job would suit him well. So I would actually make a new paragraph here. In my opinion, the assistant job suits me well. I enjoy working with people. In addition, I have a good understanding of what a job demands from my previous summer job, and I know I can handle it. I can see myself as caring and warm with a good sense of humor. And then he goes on to tell what his availability. But this final sentence here tells something about what he expects from the reader, and you should always point that out. So leave that in a paragraph on its own. So, best wishes. This is a more personal way to end a letter. This would probably fit better into the informal letter. So, when you use this phrase, dear madam and or sir, you need to say yours faithfully. Now, to a Norwegian student or Norwegian person, yours faithfully and yours sincerely sounds a bit too close, too personal, but actually, in English speaking world, this is more formal and this is more polite. So add another spacing here so that you can allow your ending and your signature to stand out, so they can easily find it if they want to look for who sent this letter. So this is a bit different from the Norwegian way of doing things. In Norwegian, I think it is a rule to have the sender's address and the recipient address at the same side here. Also, the format of the date should be, the month should be written as a word, and this is you have a bigger choice here in Norwegian. You have a more bigger choice here for salutation in Norwegian, but if you are writing an English formal letter, you should use dear madam and or sir, or if you know the name of the person you're writing to, you write dear Mrs. Jensen, for instance. And then if you know the name of the person you are sending to, you should sign off with yours sincerely. So just remember that. Also, I think that in my opinion, I think that the tone of the letter is a bit more formal and a bit more polite in English, and this is basically because British people are more polite than Norwegians. We already know that, and yeah, the Norwegian style and the Norwegian culture is a bit more low on formality and also politeness. So just remember that your Norwegian style does not necessarily fit in with the English structure and the English rules for formal writing. So good luck on writing your letters.